our presenter. Our presenter today, she is ready to welcome her students in her classroom. Her students will come exactly at her 8:30, my 9:30, your 6:30 p.m. So I'm trying to coordinate all the times. I am Lucia Shelley. I am your virtual educator for the U.S. Embassy in Ukraine, and it is my privilege and my joy to welcome today my dear friend of so many years, Mrs. Maribel Vilchez. She has always been an incredible teacher, but this year she has been recognized as the National Education Association Foundation's top honors in 2025, the Horace Mann Award for Teaching Excellence. So, my dear Maribel Vilchez, thank you so much. It's an honor to have you here with us. The floor is yours. Thank you again.
Good morning, everyone. I'm afraid you can't see me. My camera seems to be on, but for some reason, it is getting muted. This is in my classroom, and technology, it's a little restricted from outside sources. We just only have district control, and that's probably what is happening. So, first of all, I want to say that it's my privilege to be with you, and I commend you for the work that you're doing. And I cannot be prouder of being an educator worldwide, not just in my country of origin, in my country of home, but as an educator in general, because this is what we do. We educate, we shape people because we want their best future, and that's what you're doing. So I am really, really honored to be here. Thank you for welcoming me. And I have watched a few of your videos to kind of catch up in terms of what you're doing. I truly apologize. I just feel bummed that I cannot turn on this video. So I could show you how happy I am of this whole opportunity. Anyway, I can see your faces and I'm just thrilled. I have prepared a really brief presentation that encompasses a little bit of what teaching a language is from a very general perspective. So can you show me thumbs up if you are ready to go? You can just give me your physical thumbs up with your hand, or you can do an emoji. I love that smile. Tiana, I don't want to butcher names, but I would love to say all your names correctly. Thank you for being here. Anyhow, so let's start. We know that when we instruct languages, we have 4 different domains. Those have been the domains forever. And we know that we need to listen to communicate. We need to read to communicate. Obviously, we need to speak to communicate, and we also communicate in writing. However, when we have those 4 domains in mind, we are really embracing 2 very broad and very important approaches that have to do with language learning. The first one, can you see my mouse moving?
No.
Not?
No.
As I'm sharing, can you see my screen?
Yes, but it's not changing.
Okay, that's okay. So you don't see my mouse in there?
No.
That's okay. Well, on the top left, you see that word interpretive. Do you?
No, we see the first screen.
You see?
Maribel, so I will make you a host. Maybe that will help.
Okay. Because I am sharing right now my screen. Can you see a screen that says communication?
Hold there.
Okay, not yet. Okay.
Not yet. Olina, you tell us when she's
Actually, so I've made her a host, so she has like all the rights, yeah?
Okay.
How about now?
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect. That's me. If you get to see me a little bit, let's have a picture of me. Okay, this is what I was showing you. Can you see now the image that says communication? Beautiful. So I was talking about, can you see my mouse moving? Perfect. So these are the 4 domains that we all know in terms of communication. However, what I want to emphasize is the idea that these 4 domains are under the huge umbrella of first one, interpretation. This is how we interpret language. We listen and we take what we hear and we make it our own. We read, we take the message and we make it our own. So when we're instructing language, we want our learners to be listening, to be reading and interpreting. But now, listening and reading are not the only domains that are going to help us with communication, but also viewing. This is a very important component because language comes in different shapes, but one of the first ones is viewing. Visual imagery, images that have to do with what we interpret through our eyes, meaning diagrams, meaning pictures, meaning anything that comes in a visual aid. Now, at the bottom left, we see expressive, the expressive language. When we talk about expressive language, is how we communicate and how the output goes to the person who's receiving a message. We can do it through writing and we can do it through speaking, which fall around the 4 domains of communication. But now, expressive language can also be with representation, meaning when I understand the message, I am going to represent the message not only in writing, not only in speaking, but maybe through visuals as well. Charts, tables, maps, ways that a message can be conveyed. So I decided to go ahead with this big picture because I want us to see as language. I want us to see language as a way that embraces a big picture. Now, saying that, what are the contributors of language development? When we are teaching a language, in your case, you're teaching English, we're thinking of English language development. What do we have to keep in mind to instruct the language in a way that our learners are going to have all that full picture of the domains? We need to provide input that has to be comprehensible. We have to scaffold the instruction, meaning that it is really difficult for anyone to be given a huge amount of content when the readiness is not there. We need to provide that scaffolding, that leveling that is going to help our language instruction be understood. Language expectations, functions, and features. It has to do with the grammatical piece. Language has a grammatical component. In English specifically, we have structures that are going to help us communicate better. Let me give you a simple example. As I am talking to you right now, I am using a sentence structure with this very sentence. I am using a simple instruction. I need to know that I and am go together, no I and are. I am using, I am use, no, I am using. So there's a sentence structure that follows in there. And that has to do with the structures. But what about the functions? When we communicate, there are many reasons of why we communicate. We communicate to express emotions. We communicate to complain. We communicate to compare. So what is the function? In our sentence structures, we can have ways in how we can convey a message and have a specific sentence structure. For example, if I want to compare, I'm going to use comparative language, and I need a structure. And I can say the text is harder than the dialogue. Harder is a comparative structure right there that has the purpose of comparing. So right there, we have the structure and the function of the language. And I know that I'm giving you lots of big general information. Each of these little components are a big world, but I'm just mentioning them so you can have an idea of what could be in place so we can develop language, the English language in this case. Vocabulary development. It is not just knowing the words, but understanding the words. And there are so many ways in which we educators can teach in a way that that language and that vocabulary, it's really internalized. Last one, but not least one, metacognitive strategies. I'm a firm believer that We need to make sense. Thinking about my thinking. When I am learning any type of content, I am thinking about what am I learning? What am I doing? This critical thinking that it's so important in the world. I believe that education has three very important pillars. The first one, they need to have an academic foundation. They need to have information. Second, they need to be critical thinkers. We need to think critically, giving that information and receiving that information in a way that I'm going to be able to distill it and know that what I am saying is what I believe. And third, but very importantly, compassion. A compassionate community is what we need. You are living in a world where I can only imagine, and not even my imagination can go there. And even with that circumstance, you're striving because your critical thinking is saying, I want to be part of this change because I want a better future for my country and for the world. Anyway, now, within saying that, there was this piece of language, right? I'm going to focus today a little bit on language. There are so many others that I would love to share with you. And if in the future comes to be, I would love to be part of it. But anyhow, let's talk about language development. We know that there are two components to language development: the rich oral language and the differentiation. Those are the two pieces that I'm going to focus in the next few minutes. When we have rich oral language, we need to model the language. People do not learn just because they hear it. They need to see examples and non-examples. They need to have ample opportunities to use the language. It is not just us talking. And the way that I'm presenting this, I know given the time frame, I would have you participate more because that's the nature. But I have just a few minutes and my little ones will come in a little bit too. Academic language structures. Knowing what my purpose of my lesson is going to allow me to provide structure for that academic language. Because outside in the world, they're going to be using language. But in the academic world, in order to succeed in our society, they need academic work. They need to have practice. And for that, we need to support them in their speaking skills, one of the domains. And frequent academic conversation, both ways. And there's so much going on in there. Now, within academic language, we have an immense world of words, right? Right here, just quite a few. But in order to get there, we need scaffolding. Just when, like constructors or constructor buildings, they go one piece at a time, that's what we do, because the second one is going to rely on the first one. Now, let's give you an example of what scaffolding in action could be. Let's say that we are wanting our students to compare ecosystems. And right here, I have the image of two ecosystems, the rainforest and the desert. As I provide the language for them to realize what a rainforest and desert is, I can give them sentence frames. That's my scaffolding piece, where they are going to be able to utilize in order to compare, which is my function of this specific activity. And I can say, one similarity between the rainforest and the desert is that they are both ecosystems per se. A difference is the rainforest has trees and the sand has sand because of the nature of my place. I'm juggling here today, huh? Both ecosystems have animals, but only the rainforest has monkeys, while the desert has foxes, right? Very simple way in a kind of a specific level. There's another one where you can provide Venn diagrams, or for younger ones, these are the visuals where we see, and we provide more scaffolding. So in these three different levels, you are approaching the same content, but with scaffolding that is going to help you get there. Now, for the higher level, when you get conversations, this is what it could be like when you are talking to another person. One similarity, academic language, between the desert and the rainforest is that both have unique adaptations that help plants and animals survive in extreme environments. Right here, you just provided a whole set of academic language where conversation can happen. This happen at a higher level. Student B, I agree, and I like to add, and I like to elaborate. Actually, this is language that my third graders use. When someone is making a comment, they have sentence frames, and I encourage them to use that language. So when they are commenting into each other's ideas, they say, I would like to elaborate on so and so's ideas. And notice that I'm not saying, I would like to elaborate on, or I agree with so and so, on their ideas, on their thoughts, because we are arguing ideas, not people. That's how I personally believe that we can agree to disagree. Now, differentiation. We just talked really briefly and quickly about oral language. Differentiation. How do we differentiate? First of all, we need to recognize what students bring, because they don't come empty. They come with strengths. What do they know? What do they have? Once we identify that, we identify their needs. In terms of their needs or strengths, what are their language of proficiency? What prior language do they have? And what learning styles do they have? Right here, when I'm differentiating, this is a paragraph that can be tiered to a specific level. The desert and the rainforest are very different places, but they both help plants and animals live in special ways. Both depend on the weather to survive. However, the rainforest gets a lot of rain and has many tall trees and plants, while the desert gets very little rain and has only a few plants. Even though they're different, both show how living things can adapt to where they live. Right here, it's a model where you model the language of where you want. And this is going to vary depending on the levels. I am giving you, for emerging writers, what can you do? Word banks, sentence frames, and pictures. This is an example that you can provide, and this is the example that you can get. Advanced, same idea. Encouraged use of adapt, climate, environment. This is the product that you can get. So that was a very quick and fun, hopefully understandable message from me on one little piece of language development. I wanted to share the picture of both of my daughters. Camila on the right, on the left, she just graduated from high school and she's in college. Natalia, my 15-year-old, she is a sophomore right now. She plays violin. And just like they are the love of my life, and my students are the love of my life, I know you have your loved ones. And I only desire that you too continue to share the love that I have for my own kids and for your own kids, because your kids are my kids and mine are yours, because we live in one very same place that we call our planet. I wish you all the love and peace, and I hope to connect with you again. Thank you for what you do. I'm so honored. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maribel. Thank you very, very much.
Mirabel, and may I ask you to make me a host again?
I will.
Okay.
Let me do
Thank
that.
you. We
Yeah.
talk later.
Could you please
Thank you so much for your time.
find me in the gallery? Yes, find these three dots in the upper right corner and make
Yeah, I
me a
see
host.
it.
Uh-huh.
And let me see your name so I can find you.
Olena
Olena.
Kuzmenko.
Olena, I'm gonna make a host, change host.
Oh, yeah. Perfect. Yeah, it works.
Perfect.
Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day, and we thank you for your time and expertise.
Absolutely. I adore you, Lucia. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Talk to you soon, my friend. Bye-bye. Well, that was fast and furious. You see how she thinks, and what I love about her is she is amazing in having this 360 overview of what she's going to teach throughout the year. We worked together like 15 years ago. She was already amazing in recognizing what standards we need to cover in the year and how can she continue cover them throughout the year, because the students need more than one time to see one of the standards that we need to cover. and she taught me a lot. She's very good at big picture, and I was helping her like in the small picture. We were teaching dual language school in Shelton, Washington, and we learn a lot from each other. And that's something that we always need to remember. We're stronger together because each one of us bring a different skill to the table. And I learned from you. Hopefully you learn from me. But this is what we do. We get together and we embrace each other's ideas and we make it better. So the session that Maribel kind of got started is to work a little bit in the SIOP model. And so I'm going to share my screen with you if that's okay. Let me see which one it is. I hope it's this one. Yes. Very good. Let me see if I can move this. Very good. So we're going to cover the Shelter Instructional Observation Protocol teaching model. So I'm not telling you something new. Probably you know about that, but I can tell you I have been using these, and it's so effective because, as Maribel said, how important it is to use the differentiation, the scaffolding. So we're going to cover a little bit of all that, but let me tell you that as part of the virtual educator program, I have to tell you that the US Embassy can take pictures or video of this recording, not for commercial purposes, but just to encourage other teachers in the United States to contribute in this program or maybe for diplomacy efforts. So let's get started. So the SIOP has been scientifically validated as an instructional model that focuses in all these pieces that we're going to talk about today with the purpose to assure that our students are being successful in the learning process. So all these parts work together in benefit of our students. So I know you're going to tell me there are a lot of lessons already prepared. You can do your lessons with artificial intelligence, but we're going to talk about what are the dangers of that. And I have known when I was running the student teaching program at a university here in the United States, there were many student teachers that saw one beautiful activity in Pinterest and they wanted to force a standard into that activity in order to do that and put it outside on their hallways or something. There's nothing wrong with nice art projects, but we have just a few days in the school year to cover all the standards. And can anybody tell me what would be the problem with using pre-made lesson plans or lesson plans done with ID? I would love to hear your ideas. Just one. I'm not gonna bite you, I promise you.
Maybe the main problem with them is that they uh, are not adapted to the particular group of learners, to their particular level. So even the ready-made plans should be checked and modified somehow so that it would be more efficient, particularly for us.
Ding, 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 ding. We have a winner. Exactly the right answer. Because the pre-made lesson plan have no idea where your students are, what are their needs, what are the strengths, what are the skills that you have in the classroom. And let me tell you something. I have had the opportunity to teach a three-way split, which means that you teach the same lesson 3 times in the day. You're just rotating students with other homeroom teachers. So you teach the same lesson, but guess what? It's not the same lesson because each group has their own leaders, has their own that want to answer all the questions, the ones that are very shy, the ones that do not understand. So even though you can be teaching the same class, you are not teaching the same class. I have had the opportunity to teach 2 times the same lesson, and you can see the same thing. Like, no, you have to be flexible and adapted. Like, no, I'm losing them. No, they are not getting it. So even though you plan, you have to remain flexible. And I just love your answer. We have a big winner today. Thank you so much. Let's move on. Hold there. So as Maribel said, well, when you start planning a lesson, it all starts with reflection. I have found after, I don't even want to tell you how many years of teaching, because you're going to know how old I am, but I always came up with the same idea. The key to have a great lesson is reflecting on that. Why am I putting first the game and then the working in groups? And why am I starting with this conversation or this picture? Why am I trying to accomplish? And I have here for you all these great games, and I want you to take a screenshot and dig a little bit in those. For example, the War Wall. Oh, you're gonna love it. Number one, they are all free. That's my keyword, free for teachers. But that is very good for working in the knowing and understanding level in Bloom's taxonomy. So I need to get that information to my students in a way that is interesting, that is fun, that they don't feel it like, oh, I have to write the same word 100 times, that you and I know that doesn't get us anywhere. So you have the word wall for fun games. You can type it, any topic you want to cover, and you have games for different levels of proficiency. And then you have Quizlet. I really like it because, again, they are pre-made sets, or you can do your own sets. But what I like is that you're covering 3 things at the same time. You can have the right pronunciation. So the students all work with their earbuds. They are listening to the right pronunciation of the word. They are seeing how it's spelled correctly. And if they flip the index card, the index card, they can see the definition, or in English, or the picture of the object you want them to learn. So I love that. And I try to implement when I'm starting a unit, it all starts with where are you in the unit, right? So if it's the beginning of the unit that you're working in the knowing and understanding level, or you are working very close to the test, well, it depends what strategies you use. Then you have the EL Yes, that you can take a YouTube video and transform it into a quiz. You can cut parts of the video. You can make them like a casino style that they win money, and it's so much fun. I cannot even tell you how fun it is. Then you have games to learn English as well. Is free. That's my best part. And all that comes to what is the content that you want them to learn, to be excited about? What is your goal for that lesson? So you have to reflect, where am I going with all this? Then you have, how am I going to teach this content that is not fact? As Maribel was telling us, how important to use what you want to teach in a real life setting. let me give you an example. Right now, my adult students that I'm teaching English as a second language here, they're learning about food. Well, I don't want them to just recite the words like if it's the multiplication tables, like 2 times 1 equals 2, 2 times 1. That will be nowhere. So after working with vocabulary and things, today we're going to play restaurant with real plates, with some of them are going to be in the kitchen, some others are going to be the waiter, the hostess, the clients, and they can use their book, their notes, whatever, but we bring that content into real life. Then the third part is like, we know and we are aware that not all the students are on the same place. So that's where our skills and our knowledge come to the rescue with scaffolding and differentiation. So scaffolding can be represented in many different ways, like with realia, the real fruit in your classroom, or clothes, or clips, visuals, graphic organizers, as Maribel said, picture dictionaries, you fill in the blank. But again, we have to be very aware of Bloom's taxonomy. What do we want to accomplish? And number one, how do we want to accomplish that? Then the next one, how are we building the background knowledge? So as Maribel said, we really need to get to know our students, and not just at the academic level. Is you do small conversation while everybody's working, or while you're getting started with a lesson. Invest time in knowing what do they like, what do they do, and you will be surprised. Like the session on Monday with you amazing Ukrainian teachers, one of the university students said, I am a chess champion, I'm a chess professional player. I was so excited. See all the potential and all that she can bring to the classroom, and you're not going to use it because you didn't take the time to know your students. So building the background knowledge is know who they are, know what they know what they are interested in. That's a big factor in our classroom. And what we're doing is connecting what you want them to learn with what they already know. And that is the secret. And as Maribel said, well, maybe you want to connect, link the student's background with a new one. And I am an English learner as well. So I know that I'm going to talk about the ones that we speak Spanish as our native language. Many of the sounds in English, we don't have them registered in our brain. The research says that each one of the sounds in English is like a brick in your brain. And so if you haven't practiced enough, you don't have that brick. You don't recognize that sound. You think you're pronouncing it. Let me give you an example, like the word hope. Many students pronounce hope, and that means to jump. And I said, it's a huge difference just in the pronunciation. So we need to know, what do they know, why they are not reaching that content, and foster that growth through explaining the phonics, to give them a opportunity to use both words like hope and hope, right? And then help them develop that vocabulary. And we are the bridge between what they know and the new knowledge. And as Maribel says, the comprehensible input means bringing the knowledge to the level where the students are. So beginner students can have support to launch their speaking through sentence stems. And let me give you an example. Let's say today you're starting your first class in Spanish, and you will be terrified if I just start talking to you without any support. But let's say that I use the same sentence stem that is there on your screen that says, right now I feel, and I give you the emojis in Spanish and give you the first sentence and model it for you. Guess what? At the end of the class, you're going to be able to say, how do you feel in Spanish with no stress, with no feeling overwhelmed, because I'm providing you the steps to do it. I'm modeling, I'm showing it to you, I'm giving you the visual support. And for the second stage, the intermediate, well, I can give you the help by a structured writing that is beginning, middle, and end of the story. And I model, let's say, Little Red Riding Hood, and I do it orally and on the board, and I tell you, this is the beginning, I show you the setting, the characters, and then middle is the problem and end is the solution. Your students can easily start developing that model, but I am scaffolding, I'm showing you, I'm modeling for you, and that's how the students are safe and starting to speak in English. Then what are the techniques that I can use for my students to able to achieve that input? You have the best tool and you don't even know. Did you realize when my dear fellow teacher gave the answer, what did I do? To make him feel he was right, he was accepted, I appreciate his answer. I didn't give him anything but my oral recognition. So you have your face, that the research says that 90% of our communication happens through body language. So you have the best tool in the world to communicate with your students, to make them feel accepted, to make them feel excited that they're coming to your classroom with a smile, with words of encouragement when they're absent. We missed you yesterday. Oh, so happy to have you here. Give me 5. As I did to my students with sounds. Ding, ding, ding. Right answer, or clapping or cheering. So first of all, your expressions and your body language is your most powerful tool in the classroom, and it doesn't cost a dime. Then you have to lower your rate, and it's very important that you give them the thinking time. So when I ask a question in the classroom, I know I'm going to have that student that is always answering and raising their hand and they know everything. And then you have the ones that just bow their head and pretend they are tying their shoe or looking for a pencil in the backpack because they don't want to answer, they don't want to be singled out. Then you give all your students thinking time. Guys, I'm going to give you 10 seconds, and I am hoping that everybody can come up with a great answer. And then you just don't ask the one that raised your hand. You have a wood sticks with the names of all the students, so they know everybody needs to be ready with an answer because it's a random choice. And so that is a very powerful strategy, because when you are not being random in asking the question, you're going to have 3 students engaged and the other ones are going to be in Hawaii or at the beach and not connected with your content. So use randomness and slow down the time in your class for everybody to be able to answer. Then you make pauses between content. When you are going from initial setting the stage for your class with a video or a picture, and then you ask a question, you pause. Did you notice when I asked my question, nobody wanted to answer? There was an uncomfortable silence. Don't be bothered by that. They have to be thinking and uncomfortable, saying somebody has to come up with the answer. Allow that uncomfort space to happen so the students are engaged and connected. So then ask for simple syntaxes. In my students here at the adult level, they said, I get so frustrated because when I go someplace, I want to say something and I can't. And I said, you know why? Because you want to speak at the same complexity and speed that in your native language. And so what happens is that they shut down. And I told them, come with the simplest sentence to convey your message, and you start growing from there. So yesterday, one of my students said, I went to the bank and I didn't use the translator. I got it done. And I said, oh, show me how. Tell me the sentences. He said, I remember what you said. Start with the minimal sentence that you can say it without using your Google Translate. And he felt so excited that he was able to do it. But I think that's a great strategy. Start with simple syntaxes and grow from there. Start adding adjective or start adding adverbs, but do something that you can communicate. That's the most important part. And then stress high frequency vocabulary. As Maribel said, we model for our students. I like that she could say to her third graders, well, I agree with so and so, but that is not challenging for them, right? So using academic vocabulary in our conversation with our students is very important. And I always stress to them, there is the English among friends that it is like no periods, no commas, gonna, wanna. And I said, but in our professional and academic setting, we don't use those. We use punctuation, we use sentences, exclamation marks, and we use going to, want to. So we are the ones modeling that for our students. And then repeat and review the vocabulary that you are trying to convey. And I need to stop sharing my screen to tell you this. For example, when you are preparing your students for, let's say, I know that in 2 weeks, they're going to need to know the word metamorphosis. And maybe some of them are not getting it. So remember what I said, that our body is our best tool. So instead of calling the attention of your students like, hey guys, or look at me, or like elementary teachers, 1, 2, 3, eyes on me. You know what I did? I said, the secret word of the day is going to be metamorphosis. When I say metamorphosis, you're going to answer change in appearance. So you're using words, you're using body motions, you're calling their attentions. And guess what? In 2 more weeks, when you start talking, today we're going to talk about metamorphosis, they already know what it is. They can write it, they can define it, they can use it in a sentence. So you have to be very intentional in what happens in your classroom. You are being paid to protect the instructional time. We don't waste 1 minute in our classroom. Very good. I get excited about this topic. Okay, let me continue. So then we talk about repeat and restate for understanding. It's not enough to say, do I have any questions? Of course, you and I know they're going to say no. Or if you say, may I help you? No, they're going to say no. But if you go desk by desk, show me, why are you doing? Show me, why is the answer? Explain me, why is this answer? Then they have to come up with an answer, and they know they have to be engaged. So restate for understanding is paraphrasing what you just said, but also letting them explain you what you meant. Then be friendly and enthusiastic. I am just honored that your teacher here, Olina Miss Kuzmensko, was telling me, oh, the teachers on Monday said, you're so enthusiastic. don't tell anyone, but I will do this for free. That's how much I love it. And your students know when you are faking it, like, oh, I don't want to be here. You and I know teachers that they just go for the paycheck, but the students know, and if it's not important for you, why it's going to be important for them? So your enthusiasm is contagious. And then be supportive on the effect side. So your students want to perform for you if they know you care for them. That translates immediately. I always tell my student teachers, imagine that your student is like a checking account. You are depositing words of praise, words of affirmation, words of love. So when there's a situation, you can draw a check because you have been deposited on their hearts. If you have never invested on their hearts, guess what? They're not going to want to perform for you. They're not want to be engaged. They're not going to respond well to your admonishment or like, hey, pay attention, or hey, don't do that. So you have to think is you're going to get out of the student's life what you deposit on them. And then allow in your classroom different perspectives. And that is something very important, to allow them to speak their mind in a safe environment. Do you have any questions so far? I know I dump a bunch of things on you, but please stop me at any moment. I get excited and I go super fast. But do I have any question, any observation? Hello? Oh.
They're enchanted. They just keep on listening to you.
Excellent. Okay. Can I continue? Give me thumbs up. Okay, let's move on. Fast and furious. Well, now we have here a bunch of techniques to support our learners. You can see in this picture, that's exactly when I was working with Maribel in second grade. We went on a picnic. You can see I brought fruit to the classroom. I don't know if you have ever read the book about a caterpillar that every day went on an adventure and ate a different fruit. So I was practicing the days of the week, the names of the fruit, the structure of a story, and I had my work bank so the students see the words. I brought realia. We sang songs about the different stages of the metamorphosis for a student. I have adapted text for the newcomers that didn't have a lot of English yet. And then we did a graphic organizer in the wall, like the 4 stages of the complete metamorphosis. And we had a ball. We were really pretending we were on a picnic. So what we do is we provide ample opportunities for our students to use learning strategies. For example, problem solving. What can the caterpillar do if he already ate and you said, you know what, turn to your elbow partner? We use that expression here in the United States because if you said talk to a friend, maybe they want to talk to the one that is across the classroom and it's chaos in the classroom. So you said your elbow partner means the person that is seated beside you. And let's predict. So if Monday he went and ate an apple, Tuesday, what do you think is going to happen on Wednesday? So we don't use the word guess in the academic setting because guess is based on random things. We use the word predict because it's based on what they already know. So predicting is based on they saw the picture on Monday, they saw the picture on Tuesday, so they can predict what's going to happen on Wednesday or at the end of the story. And that helps them organize their sentences. They help them to summarize the beginning, middle, end, to categorize Is this a fruit or is this a vegetable? They help them to self-monitor. And you know what I love about this? When they can come back to their own sentences and add the period or correct the spelling. So a lot of things were happening at the same time. They learn how to ask questions to each other, how to fill out the diagram, the graphic organizer, and explain very well to each other. So you're covering language arts, science, reading, writing, all at the same time. And definitely manipulatives like numbers and seasons, events, many, many things at the same time. So this would be the SIOP model when you are connecting different subjects or different things at the same time, but not in an overwhelming way. You're reading and you're smiling to them and making voices and sounds. So it's engaging and it's fun. So how can I do that? And here it is, the scaffolding again. So the scaffolding, as Maribel, I love the visual that she used, is a temporary support that we provide to the students just to help them learn a new skill. And I'd imagine like when my children were learning to ride the bike, right? You go behind them, holding the bicycle, making sure they don't fall, or you use those small wheels. But then the moment they know how to use the bikes, you don't need to hold the bike anymore, or they don't need the small wheels. They can do it themselves. So that's the picture I want you to have for scaffolding. It's just for a period of time, and you're gradually withdrawing the support as the students become more independent. So there are a few of the ideas, the scaffolding that I came up with, and providing the right amount of support. Well, the students can easily move from one level of proficiency to a higher one. And you can do it easily in your classroom using the five senses. Obviously, we use YouTube videos. And again, I just told you about a website that you can bring back that same YouTube video and add questions. And it can be multiple choice, true, false, fill in the blanks. So there are different levels of questioning. Then you have manipulatives. And I love the fact that when students are reading to each other, you give them a paper or a stick that has why, who, how. And when they are reading, they are reminding, I have to be paying attention because I'm going to ask questions, right? Or body motions. Believe it or not, even my students that are adults, I make them dance, I make them sing in the classroom. But again, it's because they feel safe and I am goofy and funny and make voices to them. I'm using the same strategies that I use with my second graders, my sixth graders, my high schoolers, even to the adults. The secret is not the age, like, oh, no, that's for babies, but it's to have fun and connect. It's not just them having fun. I want to have fun too. And so make it interesting, show them things, make it interactive, like reading to each other or playing a game or presenting to each other. Make a game in the computer or in their phones. Or for those students that are visuals, well, make them, this is the graphic organizer or the timeline where they can visually see the information and acquire it in a very, very quick way. Again, I'm going to stop. Any questions so far? So I'm going to pick on someone. Valeria, tell me something you have learned so fast. One thing.
That we should provide a temporary support for students and then let them go, like riding a bicycle.
Yes, excellent. Woohoo! This is my Valeria. Yay! Excellent. Thank you so much. Sorry that I put you on the spot. So then what are the interactions that can happen in our classroom that make relevant and make the students move on from one level of proficiency to the next one? When the interaction is between teacher, student, you have to help them and check frequently. Like, show me the last time we talked, we said you're going to work, for example, in your fluency. So last time you were reading, I don't know, for to say a number, 40 words per minute. And now I want to see where are you, but without losing the comprehension. So show me. And okay, I love, and you're going to talk to them. I love that you're paying attention to this phonetic rule, blah, blah, blah. So you're conferencing, you're expressing the good things that they're doing, but like the homework. So next time we get together, we're going to check and you're going to be working in A, B, and C. So then the interaction student. I love this because you know what? You have to keep the grouping flexible. So it's not like Johnny and Carl for the rest of the school year are going to be working together. No, they have to be flexible. You know what I do? I tell them one is the peanut butter and one is the jelly. So I said, Johnny, today your jelly is going to be Martha. They don't know why, but I'm working. Oh, I know that Johnny is very good in comprehension and Martha needs to improve in that. So today I'm going to pair them up. So Johnny teach her how to understand the text. And then the next day, Marta is very good in writing. And Philip is struggling with sentence structure. So Marta, today you're the peanut butter, and Philip, you're the jelly. So again, don't tell them the levels. Don't tell them why you pair them up, but change constantly according to what you want them to work on. So the only thing they knew is that peanut butter was the leader and jelly was the one working with. And you can call them A and B, blue and red, it doesn't matter. But that they know the grouping is going to be always changing according to what you see is necessary for them. Then the strategies. Well, we talk about temporary support a teacher provides to a student to help them learn a new skill or a concept. So you have the whole group explanation. For example, compare and contrast. The way I do, for example, when I teach them adjectives. Well, first they need to know what is big, what is small, but then we start like, okay, that's the positive adjective, then compare. And I said, and I make two students stand like one very tall and one shorter, and we start modeling how is comparing, or one new pen and one old pen, comparing between two things. And then the superlative, and we talk about restaurants. Oh, for example, McDonald's food is good, is not good, don't tell them. McDonald's food is good. Fridays is better. Oh, but Olive Garden is the best. I mean, the ingredients and blah, blah, blah. So you have to explain that in a context. And then you go and teach them the grammar behind it. So you first teach whole group the strategy, then you see what students are getting it and which ones know. And then you have cooperative learning stations where they can practice that skill. And you always have that student that can easily run the classroom by him or herself. That is like your secretary. So you make that student be the one running that station, modeling for the others and helping others, while you can be working with another small group, the ones that are struggling to understand the concept, the ones that need support in the sentence structure in a more one-on-one or small group setting. So those are very powerful strategies to reinforce any skill or any concept that you're gradually graduating them so they can do it on themselves. Now, as Maribel said, practice is the master. So let me show you. Hold there. Hold your horses. Oh, they are all playing at the same time. So let me show you a video that I just recorded very recently. So we were learning about prepositions. The way I learned it, I'm talking prehistoric era here in elementary, is that you repeat them till you want to vomit, right? But that doesn't take you anywhere. So what I did, these are adults, these are my current students. So one had a picture and the other one had a blank paper. And the one that was leading had to explain. So there is a chair behind the desk, and the other one had to draw it. There is a bookshelf beside the desk to the right. So they were drawing the same picture, explaining them with words. So that's a very real life to use the prepositions. And I want you to see a part of this video.
Sorry, but we do not hear the sound.
Oh, I know again. Yeah, I know. Let me go here. Bummer. And I have to put on the settings. Somebody told me yesterday. Let me remember how it is. Oh, it's in Zoom. In Zoom, I have to go. Hold it. And I have to go to more and share computer sound. Let me see if now you can hear it. This is all a learning experience, right? Okay, let me see. No, I have to go to this one. No, I click this one. I go to this one. I close the other one, I guess. So interesting. Hold there. You see, I'm learning too. Don't think for a second you're the only one learning. I was sharing that teaching is the easy part. All the technology is the interesting and exciting part of life. Let me see which one. Okay, we're here. Okay, here we are. Wish me luck. Are you hearing?
Paper
On the
with
middle,
the name
we have a pen,
of the
pencil,
person.
a pencil. And on the middle,
On the center. Like a sign with the
behind
name
the
of the
desk, we
person
have a
in
share.
Oh,
this office.
A share.
The sign, like that name?
Yes.
yeah, oh, yeah,
Yeah, we
a
have
name
a
tent.
share.
Name. The name.
Name tag, right?
In the middle,
I put name.
The
behind
name is
and the middle next to the pencil,
Mr.
and between the telephone, we have a like a
Name tent.
name tent. We do in the first day.
So these students are
Nieces.
high beginners. So their communication skills are very, very small. But as you may see, they feel comfortable to try. They have been practicing the knowledge and understanding skills. So they are ready to apply it. This doesn't happen overnight. It takes several days for them to feel comfortable to do that. Now, I'm going to show you a video. This is one of my students that I had several years ago in the Spanish 1 level. So this is like 1 month after the school year got started. So it's very, very basic sentences. My name is, I am da 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 years old, I'm from blah, blah, blah. But I connected with the Aztec calendar. So I show them the history and what was about, very relevant in the Mexican culture. So I tied both things with a cultural aspect and using it to convey their own information. Here it is.
Buenos tardes, me llamo Nicole. Hoy es martes 24 de octubre. Es Antonio. Y hace
It's
fresco.
fall, it's
Es el
cold.
Calendario Azteca.
This is the
Mi
Aztec calendar.
cumpleaños
So she is a student that came from China when she was like 5 years old. So she knows Chinese, English, and Spanish. She's super proficient. Now, let me tell you about my YouTube channel. I started it when we were in COVID, and I was bored to death, and I said, well, what can I do? So I started sharing videos to other teachers about the ESL projects that my students were doing. So I came up with the idea of making the students investigate about the meaning of their own name, how people pronounce it, because let me tell you something. For the Puerto Ricans or Chinese or students from Pakistan, whatever, people in the United States have such a hard time pronouncing their names. And unfortunately, many people say, oh, you know what? We're going to call you Sue, or we're going to call you John. But I understand they want to make it easier for them, but the students feel they are kind of losing their own identity. So in this project, what the students did is tell others how they feel when people mispronounce their name, the meaning of their name, things like that. And we had a great time. This came up as a result in my doctoral dissertation. Calderon in 2016 said that ESL students, the 4 things that they mostly need is people that are aware of what it is to be learning another language. So all of us, we're on the same boat because we understand the 3 steps of learning a second language. First is frustration. I cannot say anything. I don't understand anything. Then I have my social language like, oh, how was your weekend? Great. How was the movie? Awesome. But they struggle a lot. The problem here in the United States is people assume that because they have that social English, they can be functional in biology class or academic language. And you know, the research says they can be 6 years between the social and the academic language, depending on the student's interest and opportunities. So coming back to Calderon, he says they need people to be aware of what it is to be learning a second language. They need to bridge the technology gap because many students that come to the United States, they don't even know how to turn on the iPad or the iPhone. And the teacher expect submit and take a screenshot and send, submit and blah, and they don't even know where to start. So they need people to help them be tech savvy. Another thing, that they can be corrected and that they are in a friendly, kind environment. So this project is part of my vision to help my students do all those things, but more importantly, tech savvy, so they could be proficient in the other classes. So hold your horses. Let me show you. And tell me if you can hear. My name is Lucia, Shelley, and I am here to share the ESL students mid-intermediate level beginning of the school year project. Recently, I shared the same project that my freshman students with ESL and IEP accommodations did the 5th day of classes. But here I want to share with you the projects of some of the students that are juniors or seniors. They have been progressing in their English. They are more tech savvy, but the most important component is that there are plenty of opportunities to integrate the 4 areas of learning a language, which is comprehension, reading, writing, and speaking. So this activity will help your students not just to get engaged and connected, but to accomplish all that, according to Calderon in his article of 2016. I hope that this really interests you and you put it into practice. Subscribe to my channel, like the video, and provide me your comments here below. Let's get started.
Teachers are calling students' name and they stop and make a weird face. I know it's because my name is coming next. Please don't say my name. Please don't say my name. Teachers also mispronounce my name and they ask me, is this how you say it? And I say yes, even when they are wrong, because I get shy and uncomfortable. I feel comfortable when people say my name because they pronounce it wrong and it doesn't sound like my name. It sounds like another person's name and I get confused. When I was in Puerto Rico, I really liked my name because of the way people pronounce it. But when I moved to the United States, I stopped liking my name because people call me Jersey instead of Jessery. I've been living in the United States for 4 years, and even if I teach them how to say my name in the correct way, they still mispronounce my name, and that really makes me mad. Oh, it's Jessery, no Jersey. So every time when teachers ask me, is this how you say it? I only say
This is a different student.
I moved to the US from Puerto Rico. I tried making new friends, but they keep mispronouncing my name, like Daigo, Dago, Diago, Daniel, David. I did not mind at first, but I've been in North Dakota for 6 years, and I think it's getting a bit old now.
So as you may see, my students had a lot of fun. I make them be super comfortable in front of the cameras. I always joke that I will send them to Hollywood, but this is part of practicing. They wrote their sentences. I correct them. They practice with their friends. They edit their own videos. So this is what practice and application will look like. Now let's go to the real enchilada. And let's talk about the lesson planning. Let me see, how can I get that? Oh, wait. So the lesson delivery. So as we said at the beginning of this session, it all starts with the standards. And I want you to research about Samara lesson objective strategies. He is a researcher that put all these components to write a lesson in a very effective way. So again, we're going back to Bloom's taxonomy. The action verb has to be tied with your expectation. What do you want them to learn? We will analyze. We will understand if it's the beginning of the lesson. We will create. And then how would you show what you're doing? Through what? Through writing a story, a nonfiction story, through a game, through a video, and then what percentage of a mastery are you wanting to accomplish? So if the students are not learning throughout the activity, you do mini lesson. The moment a student asks a question, you stop the whole group and you teach a 2-3 minute mini lesson to make sure they are all understanding. Because if one has a question, maybe others have the same question. And so it will be unrealistic to expect 100% mastery. But we can target 85, 90%, but it is all related to the action verb. So if I said that the students are going to be creating, are they really creating? Is the activity targeting the standard that I provided? So if you ever have a chance, go and dig into this type of lesson delivery. Just Google Samara lesson objectives, and your mind is going to explode. This is amazing. And that's what we had to do when I was working in Texas at a 4th grade level. And this is really helping the students. This is what we're doing. And the important thing is not that you know what you're doing, that if your principal comes into the classroom and asks your students, what are you doing today? That they can be able to say, we are creating a blah, blah, blah through blah, blah, blah. So they are the ones that need to know what is the goal of the lesson, not you. So again, how are we going to assess the lesson? The assessment is not just the test that we give to our students. The assessment goes when we ourselves assess, is the lesson plan really going someplace? Do I have the parts that I need to make this lesson successful? You audit the resources. Do I have the material here ready to go? I have seen teachers that they start the lesson and then they leave the students alone because they go to their closet to look for that specific paper, and then the students are going crazy. It is our fault. I have always think that if something happens in my classroom that I don't like, is because I didn't set the expectation or the lesson plan or the explanation. In your classroom is going to happen what you set to happen or you allow to happen. So we analyze each part of the lesson. We evaluate. Remember what I said? Reflection is your key strategy. What didn't work? What happened? One time when a principal was observing me, he said, how do you make the students do that? And I said, I have no idea. I had to go and reflect because I assumed that that was normal to happen, but I needed to reflect and verbalize what did I do. So I went back a few days later. I know how I make that happen. And again, it's you reflecting on your own skills and your own delivery and your own explanation. And I'm going to tell you a secret that it took me forever to realize. When you are planning a lesson, you spend several days, oh, I'm going to do this and then I'm going to do that. But when you present it to the students, this is the first time they hear about that. And we are frustrated, like, why they don't get it? Because it's the first time they hear about that. So giving them thinking time, giving them processing time, giving them time to analyze it, it is very important. And that's how we're going to measure if a lesson is effective. Did we give them the tools to be successful, to progress, and to show growth? So these are simple things that I know you already know them, but I just want you to reflect on how important it is your role in the classroom to want your students to come back over and over with a good attitude, with a willingness to try and to continue learning in English. So on my part, this is all I have. These are a few resources for you. And again, in behalf of the U.S. Embassy of Ukraine and my behalf, I couldn't be happier. I thank you so much for your attention. And I am excited to hear if you have any comments, any requests, any ideas. This is your chance. I'm passing the microphone to you. And action.
So thank you very much. It was very fruitful and like everything, but especially it was the most important for me, and the most interesting thing for me was about scaffolding, speaking about interaction between students and teacher. I have to mention that the perfect percentage at the lesson is 70-30, when 30% belongs to the teacher, to the instructor, and 70% to the students. I think that it is the best variant when you are working and dealing with students. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
No, thanks
I'm
to all
Natalia
of you, Natalia.
Nazarenko. So
Yes, Natalia, I saw your screen in green. Thank you so much, and thank you to all. Please leave questions here, as Olina was asking, or you can feel free to use the Telegram, or you have my email in the course overview. I would be delighted to be friends and answer your questions. That will be my privilege.
So thanks a lot.
So
Bye.
we're here joining this together. Don't think for a second that I know it all. I ask questions, and this is what we do. We check on each other and we help each other. So I would be delighted to have be in contact with you, ladies and gentlemen. And again, feel free to ask. There's no such thing as a silly question. So I'm waiting for your questions.
So we don't think so. It is very useful for us teachers and instructors who are working in Ukraine, because it's a good chance for us to train a little bit, to speak with native speakers, So thanks a lot.
No, my
It
privilege.
was a great opportunity for us to train,
My privilege.
Thank you very much.
My privilege. Anyone else? It's now or never. Ask me your questions or your comments.
They kept on asking questions about whether the materials would be available. Yeah, so that's what I already presented in the chat, but perhaps I will intervene. Sorry for doing that. So dear participants, at least all those who are present today. So I believe that, so if you successfully joined our Telegram chat, so we will keep on leaving some notes for you, some materials there. But so while texting you like through emails, so it's been mentioned there that we've created or we've designed the so-called basics of ELT site. So all the materials will be presented there. So if you so if you click on this link, yeah, so then you'll be taken to the site, and then there will be a page called events. Yeah, so have you looked through that? Perhaps you already tried doing that. So, and in these events, on this events page, there will be a special tab with sessions. So session 1, session 2, session 3. Yeah, so in each of the sessions, you will have these recordings, pre-session materials, as well as a presentation. I believe that Lucia so will share, kindly share it with all of us. So check for pre-session materials at the weekends, because that will be the most fruitful time for me. Yeah, so the time available when I will just place or just post all the pre-session materials on site. And I believe that perhaps by the time of the weekend, I will also manage to post all these presentations and video recordings, so that all of you who somehow, because of some reasons, because of cutoffs in electricity or family matters or whatever, skipped the classes, so that you could watch them. But of course, so that will not replace this face-to-face interaction here. That's why whenever possible, try always to be present. Yeah, that's highly appreciated. So, and
Yes.
Lucia did her best. So thank you on behalf of all of those teachers and participants of ours. So let me thank you for so that excitement, yeah. So you've created for those emotions you evoked in all of them, yeah, and for your experience, because of that truly means a lot. So Natalia Nazarenko has already mentioned that it's great when you have an opportunity to communicate with a native, yeah, with a native speaker. That's for sure. Besides, like when it's a native, so with so many years of experience, so that becomes even like the best option ever. Yeah.
No, thank you. So before we leave, don't think for a second that I don't want to hear from you. So if I can steal 5 minutes more of you, I would like us to go into groups and to talk what things you already have used from the SIOP model. And I know you have used a lot, but also I want you to talk, what are you taking home that you are ready to implement or to try in your own classroom? So let's just give 5 minutes and we're coming back, and just to share, this is what I already use and this is what I'm going to try to implement. Short and sweet. Okay, just 5 minutes and we will come back just as a close of today's session. What are you taking home? If that's okay with you, let's go to groups and we will come back in a second.
Could you please make me a host, because
Oh, yes.
won't be possible to assign them in breakouts?
Hold there. Where are you? So explain me again how I do it.
Oh, find like this icon, not just me in the gallery.
Yes,
me
yes.
In the gallery. In the upper right corner, there are 3 dots. Click them.
Click pin.
So
or
no,
chat.
not pin. Just make a host. Make Helen a host.
Okay, let me see. Because the only options that I see is chat or pin.
Oh, that's strange. Shouldn't be like this. So actually, since the time when you started talking, I no longer have these like breakouts available. So yeah, as an option. And perhaps that's because like you were sharing your screen and you were like a host for all that period of time.
I think I'm not.
But there is no breakout option here, right?
Oh yes, me neither.
No, I used to have it at the very beginning of the class.
Okay, let's do something. What if we leave this as a homework? All of us, we're gonna think the things you're already practicing and the things you took home. Maybe by next class, you're already implementing it. So that's what we're going to start the next session. We're going to start talking about that. You can submit it on the chat next class, or if you are brave enough, because as I said, I'm not eating anyone yet. I'm going here to applaud you and cheer for you. So if that's okay with you, let's leave it as a homework. And next week, I cannot wait to see you again. I would be delighted if you come back and we continue this conversation via Telegram, or you have my email in the course overview. Feel free to email me and I can wait till next Wednesday.
Thank you once again. Yeah. So hopefully that will be their home assignment and I will not forget about that. Yeah, promise to do that.
Okay. Well, thank you to all of you.
Okay, then, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you, yeah, in a week at 6 p.m. again. Yeah. Thank you all.
Thank you too. Goodbye.
Thanks a lot.
Bye. Have a beautiful
Bye.
evening.
Thank
My
you. The same
privilege.
to
For
you.
today's session. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Have a nice
Mhm.